Hey everybody, this is HD. Welcome back. It's time to begin the HD World Tournament. You guys have been waiting a long time for this, and I promised to bring this tournament out to you guys, and this is going to be one of the first games in the round of 16. It is going to be Zelniq versus InControl in the round of 16, and the brackets are up. I think it's on my intro video towards the end. And I do have a co-caster with me. It is going to be none other than...
Bane User. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be here.
What's going on, Pain User? As always, a pleasure to have you here by my side co-casting. A lot of you guys out there really enjoy Pain User and me co-casting together, and so I will be, of course, having a lot of different co-casters. Whoever wants to co-cast with me, in fact. And Pain User, one of the first people to volunteer, and he's actually one of the players who will be competing in the tournament. We'll have that game coming up in a couple of days, and so yeah, this is gonna be InControl versus Zelniq. Pain User, what do you think is gonna happen this game?
Well, obviously I'm going to be rooting for Zelniq. He is my clanmate, and he's a Zerg player, so I practice with him a lot. But InControl is also a very good player from Team Evil Geniuses, Protoss player. Pretty unconventional style. He can catch you with a lot of off-the-wall strategies if you're not paying attention, if you're not 100% on top of your scouting and focused on the game at hand. And I think his style kind of matches up with Zelniq's style in a way that will probably work out really well for him. Zelniq is a very by-the-books, macro-oriented player who doesn't really throw in a lot of like surprising stuff or cheese in his play. So I think their play styles match up really well for InControl.
Right on. I think this is going to be a really, really good game, guys. Remember, this is the first game in a best-of-3 series, the HD World Tournament, featuring 16 of the best players in the world. They are going to be competing, and it is a best-of-3 in the very first round. The first map is always going to be Tal Dareem Altar for the round of 16, and that is the map you guys see these two players currently duking it out on right now. And just a little footnote, it looks like InControl has a pylon at the back of Zelniq's fast expansion, and I think he does have a forge, so he's going to be throwing up some cannons in the back of Zelniq's base here. And unfortunately for Zelniq, doesn't have the vision. Is he going to see it with his drone? He does.
That's good for Zelniq that he spotted it, but I don't know that there's really anything he can do about it at this point. He has those 3 pylons going up, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with this from InControl, because obviously Zerglings aren't out yet. I don't know if he needed to fully wall that. Okay, there we go. He cancels one of the pylons, realizing that he probably doesn't need all 3 of them to fully wall it in, and he has another cannon going up behind the natural. Zelniq is forced to cancel the hatchery. That sucks. But he's already got his third going a little bit to the right of that. Maybe not the optimal expansion that he wanted to take, but nonetheless, he's still going to be able to get an early expansion up, get his macro going. Probably not as quickly as he would like. And then also, InControl is going to get some valuable scouting information from those pylons in that cannon, because eventually, when Zelniq does kill it, InControl will know whether or not he has speed, whether or not he has roaches, probably. So hopefully Zelniq only uses just the proper amount of lings to kill the cannon and not reveal anything else.
Yeah, look at InControl here. He's so smart, dude. Pain User, he's already got a pylon going up towards the third, which is now actually the second, interestingly enough, because Zelniq had to cancel his second. And now we have another cannon going up by InControl up here on the top side of that third base. So Zelniq's hatchery here may not be safe for long, and Zelniq's gonna have to figure something out. These cannons are being really pesky, and all the meanwhile, InControl is getting up his own nexus back inside his main base. And remember, on this map, you can wall off, like you guys see right here. InControl has these buildings placed very nicely, prevents any units from coming in from both the natural and into the main, and more cannons going up right at this third expansion. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's terrible for Zelniq. He's going to be forced to pull a bunch of drones and try and kill this cannon. Smartly pulls his drones away, doesn't want to lose too many, but then again, he might lose this hatchery if he doesn't at least try and kill those cannons that are morphing in. Zelniq being very indecisive right now, running his queen back and forth, pulling his drones back and forth. Didn't lose any drones. 2 of them are pretty low. But if he loses this hatchery, he's going to be in a terrible spot. I really hope he's able to pull things together and get rid of these cannons.
Oh no, 1 drone going down. That's the first casualty of today. I believe that's the first casualty of today. No, a couple of casualties already. As you guys can see the unit slots tab. In this HD World Tournament, we can see InControl is doing some damage to this hatchery, and like you said, Pain User, if he loses this one, that's the second one he's lost today. The first one he was able to cancel, but this one he will not be able to recuperate the cost. And now we actually have another hatchery going up all the way up at the 3 o'clock location. This map, Taldream Altar, offers so many expansion areas, so it's not too bad for Zelniq. He will still have a second hatchery, but man, there's 300 minerals right down in the hole, and a lot of time and money invested that's just kind of gone down the toilet.
Yeah, not only time and money, also all the larvae that he would have gained from that hatchery over time. Zelniq forced to tech quickly to a layer. He has a ton of drones on his main. He's definitely fully saturated already. In fact, probably oversaturated. And he really needs to Maynard some of those drones over to a hatchery. But the way InControl's playing this map is really smart. I mean, he brought the hurt to Zelniq right away, not even with units, just with pylons and cannons. Yeah. He was real sneaky about it. And I think that's kind of on Zelniq because he didn't really put his overlords in the proper places and scout around the hatcheries, because while the hatcheries are morphing, obviously they have super low sight range, so it's really hard to see, well, you can't see pylons and cannons and stuff going up around your hatcheries until they actually finish. Then their sight range expands once the hatchery is actually done. So Zelniq taking a ton of damage, kind of forced into a one base tech situation, whereas InControl is getting his Stargate up. He has his natural fully up and running. InControl has a lot of energy on his Nexus right now, almost up to 100. I'm not sure why he's not chrono boosting his weapons upgrades or his warp gate tech, or even just some probes, but we'll see what he does with all that chrono boost energy. Hopefully he'll start using that pretty soon.
Just as he said that, he did actually use Chrono Boost on the Nexus. Keep in mind, Zelniq now has an Overseer inside, as he's gotten that very quick layer up, and he is going to see the Stargate. Yes, he does see the Stargate, so he knows now what's coming. In response, now getting a Hydralisk Den so he can get some Hydras out to deal with any Void Rays or Phoenix that may pop out. These cannons are still there, Pain User. They have done so much damage, and really, they don't... Well, they cost a lot of money, but they're so worth it considering the damage that InControl has done. Not Pain User, of course. You're just casting with me. That Pain User has InControl has done. He's just done so much damage with those cannons, and really, he hasn't made a single attacking unit yet. Look, he's just got the Gateway and the Cybernetics Core, but really hasn't made any Zealot or any Stalker whatsoever.
Yeah, he's really optimizing his build right here, and like I was talking about earlier, the scouting information from those cannons is so good for InControl. InControl must know that Zelniq is taking a fourth base somewhere, because he knows right now that Zelniq neither has his natural expansion or his tertiary third. So obviously InControl knows that he's taking another base. He has to have, or he's just in a terrible position. And InControl, like you said, hasn't made a single unit. He's going to get that Void Ray out, probably scout around the map with a Void Ray and a couple Phoenixes. That's a really common build that a lot of Protoss players have been using lately. And like even, you know, players like White Rock and other people that you have in the HDH World Invitational, Damaga and White Raw both doing really well in the GSL the other day in the Foreigners versus the World. I don't know if everybody got a chance to see that, but there were some great games. Damaga and White Raw really holding it down and showing that foreign players are just as good as the top Korean pros. And I think that was really huge for the foreign community. So if you guys haven't seen it, you should go check out those games from the GSL because they were great.
Indeed, most definitely should. You guys should always be checking out some of the best games out there in the world, which are featuring not just in my tournament, but also in a ton of tournaments that are going on worldwide. Getting back to this game though, Zelniq just destroyed those cannons that you were talking about earlier, those pesky cannons, and now he's getting up his third expansion. Such a delayed third for the Zerg player. Usually a Zerg player, two base versus two base, you need that third base. So he is now getting that third up. Meanwhile, InControl, he has a Void Ray out, which is kind of just roaming the map, and at the back of his main, he's gotten 3 warp gates, a quick Twilight Council, and he's got a Dark Shrine coming up. So InControl here is showing he is not joking around, Pain User. He is going for the all-out crazy Protoss bonkers build. Goes for cannons first, goes for his second base early on, and he just gets as much gas as possible, and he goes straight for Dark Templar. So he's shown he really wants that prize money for this tournament. Remember, it is about $1,750, $1,750 prize pool for this HD World Tournament, and InControl here is about to start warping in some really nasty Dark Templar.
Yeah, InControl's tech pattern is all over the place. He got that early Stargate, he's got his robotics facility, he's got the Templar, or the Twilight Council, and the Dark Shrine. I mean, he's literally just taking every single tech path, and he's not really focusing on one specific unit type or one specific upgrade table. Killing his own forge after weapons 1 and armor 1 finish, I really like the early upgrades on his part. He has 1-1 already done, and he's scouting all over the place with these DTs, looking for that 4th base. Zelniq only has 1 attack upgrade on his ranged units, has a small contingent of roaches and hydras moving through the middle of the map, taking control of the Zelnagas, but he has a few DTs that are incoming to his 4th base right now. Luckily, Zelniq already has a Spore Crawler, but I really don't know if that's going to be able to stop multiple DTs. I think it's just going to be able to kill the Queen, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like the DT did take out the Queen. Hydra's also, I believe, took out the Void Ray at the center of the map. But now we have some Stalkers and Sentries engaging at the center. So InControl really is transitioning. He's kind of using all types of tech patterns right here to try to harass Zelniq. And Zelniq is kind of scrambling his forces, trying to deal with the ground forces in the middle, the Void Rays in the air, and of course he's got to worry about the Dark Templars that are still roaming around the map. One of them did get taken out, but there's still one alive up here just scoping for that 4th expansion. And like you said, Pain User, as a result, Zelniq now has to throw up Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers to defend against that, and now we have a pretty large Stalker army coming down the middle. These Stalkers do have the Blink upgrade, but no, it looks like InControl is just going to fall back. He's just going to wait for the right time to attack. And look on that production tab, Pain User, we have 11 Mutalisks on the way, so Zelniq here is going to try to go for a tech switch to do some damage right back into InControl.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this tech switch from Zelniq. It's going to be really tough for him to deal the kind of damage necessary to really make those mutas pay off. And there are already cannons in position at InControl's main. There's a cannon at his natural. He has cannons at his 3rd, and he already has that Stargate up and running. So he's going to be able to chrono boost out several Phoenixes. And InControl with 4 Zealots in a Warp Prism headed over to Zelniq's 4th right now. I don't know what he's doing with that exactly. He's kind of taking a break over there, just hanging out. But once he does decide to deploy and drop those Zealots, and it's a drop that keeps on dropping.
It is a drop that keeps on dropping. He has the Warp Prism now deployed, but it looks like he's not going to warp it anymore. One Zealot kind of bashing on the Spire gets taken out, and the Warp Prism also goes down now. Meanwhile, Mutalisk doing a counter air assault on InControl, and InControl's natural taking a little bit of damage, but the Mutalisks are going to go ahead and fly away from those Stalkers. Not bad by Zelniq. He deals with the Warp Prism quite easily. Keep in mind, this expansion is really oversaturated for Zelniq, who has currently right now 99 drones, 103 drones. Oh my god. Pain User, do you think at this point Zelniq might be a little bit oversaturated in just in terms of drones? Because you gotta remember, the more drones you have, the less supply you have, the less capacity you have for real army units.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He definitely is way over droning. If I check out, yeah, InControl sitting at 66 probes right now. That's a pretty good amount for Protoss. His army is going to be much larger than Zelniq. Zelniq really not even having any army to speak of. He just has a couple of roaches and a couple of hydras. But if you're going to have that kind of... and it looks like the Muta's going back into the natural, trying to harass a little bit. But he has Blink now, and he has Stalkers with +2 attack. So I really don't see those Mutas doing anything more. But he loses almost all of them. Oh, and that's terrible. I think we might be a little bit desynced. I think you might have caught that before me.
Yeah.
I heard you saying what was happening right before it happened. Blizzard, please add the ability to watch replays with each other. It's my one hope.
Yeah, indeed. I just want to remind all the viewers out there right now, we are watching the replays not from my house. This time we're actually watching from our own houses, because we just thought we'd do it over the internet for funsies, but unfortunately it looks like our replays may be a little bit desynced here, so Pain User might be just a little bit behind. That's why you guys might be thinking, what the heck is going on? Pain User is slow today, but that's not the case. It looks like InControl here getting up another Nexus. He's looking real strong. Zelniq trying to throw up his hatchery, and Zelniq here is just really not looking that coherent. Like you said, Pain User, he's just got too many drones. He's got his army here engaging the Stalkers at the center. They are on the creep, but with Dark Templars in the front, that is going to prove very difficult for Zelniq to deal with, and he has to get Overseers in order to spot those Dark Templars. So he's morphing out 3 right now to see those hidden, cloaked, deadly units.
Yeah, he is morphing those 3 Overseers. In the bottom left, we have InControl putting up another Nexus and cannoning yet another expansion of Zelniq. While he's pushing the 4th at the same time, it looks like he's going to be able to eliminate 2 bases at the exact same time, and he's only using his army at one of them. Zelniq not having nearly enough forces to deal with this.
Oh man, yeah, you're absolutely right, Pain User. This hatchery will most likely go down, and these 6 Dark Templars just assassinated the drone line. That oversaturated expansion, well, it's not so oversaturated anymore. He still has a ton of drones, but it's down to 67. Those Dark Templars also killing off the Spire. So InControl is just doing an insane amount of damage. Now Broodling's left to fend for that hatchery that died down there to the cannons. And InControl is looking like a boss. He looks like a boss in real life. That guy is huge, man.
Yeah, he's enormous, and he always makes fun of me for being incredibly tall, but he's huge.
Gamers, man, you always meet the most interesting type of type of people, I should say.
Yeah, gamers are all very interesting people, and it's really fun going to tournaments and meeting everybody and talking to everybody and seeing what they're like in real life, because everybody has their little online persona and then their real life persona. But Zelniq actually able to clean this attack up. Big ups to him. He's going to be able to finally stop this. Oh, and that Overseer gets picked off, allowing those DTs to go back into the void, never to be seen again. They will kill all these roaches. Zelniq is forced to pull back, and he uses the Zerg hide ability. Good ups to Blizzard adding hide to roaches. That's their special ability. They get to burrow under the ground and do nothing and move around. A lot of Zerg players have been complaining about that since the beginning of the game, but I think it's going to stay that way. And Zelniq, kind of in an okay situation right now, although InControl is up a base and he is saturating that fourth. And that's never a situation you want to be in as a Zerg player versus a Protoss. You do not want to be well behind in the macro game. And if you are, you want your army to be much larger.
Indeed, Zelniq here is just not looking too good. He's now got his roaches trying to attack these cannons here, which took out his new expansion. And it looks like the roaches may be able to pick off these cannons before they warp in, and a ton of gateways also warping in at the same time. Yeah, I think these roaches may be able to do some pretty good damage here for Zelniq, but no, InControl now pulling his stalkers back, picking off Overseers along the way. Now these roaches have no vision of the DTs, and these roaches are going to get sliced and diced apart without Overseer support. Oh my goodness, InControl trying to run his roaches around the backside of Tal'Darim Altar here on the bottom left expansion, so he will get a couple of the roaches out of the way, but he loses about half of his army, and he's trying to desperately make more Overseers. These DTs, man, they have just been doing work on Zelniq.
Yeah, absolutely. DTs do insane amounts of damage, and especially if you don't have enough detectors to continually support detecting the DTs, and InControl has been doing a great job of blinking in, sniping those Overseers, and now I think he's looking to deliver the coup de grace. He's heading in with a huge army of Stalkers and DTs, and really Zelniq still hasn't been able to take that fourth base. Got denied once again, so Zelniq is just scrambling to stay alive at this point, morphing tons of Overseers, forced to spend a ridiculous amount of gas and money on those Overseers. You never really want to have to make more than 2, but InControl doing a great job, like I said, of sniping those Overseers and using those DTs to full effect.
Yeah, absolutely, Pain User. I mean, right now, look at Zelniq. He's got 1,700 minerals, almost 3,000 gas. So it's almost looking like Zelniq here is just, his macro is kind of failing. Maybe he just doesn't have enough larvae to produce the units he needs. Maybe he's kind of starved himself. He only has a couple of hatcheries and he only has one mining base right now. And now his forces in the center could get caught out of position. There's a ton of Dark Templars once again. He does have enough Overseers to scout this time, but so much firepower backing up those DTs will mean that the roaches will have to fall back, burrowing underground to regenerate that HP. And Zelniq here, he's kind of clinging on to life, man, but I don't know how long he can cling on against InControl. He's just got so many bases.
Yeah, InControl's income is just getting out of control at this point, and he's...
Yeah, who said he's in control? He's out of control.
Yeah,
out of control income.
InControl's out of control right now. His economy is completely out of control. He's up just about 20 probes. He's warping in tons of units, now morphing those DTs and Archons, so he's going to have a really strong final push here. I don't know that Zelniq is going to be able to stop this. And like you said, Zelniq, with a ton of money and a ton of gas, still hasn't gone up to Hive Tech, sitting on 3.5k gas. And if you're going to get all those bases super early on and get 103 drones, you really need to go up to Hive Tech. Because if your army is going to be small and most of your supply is going to be concentrated in drones, you want to be producing super badass units. You want to be spending your supply as efficiently as possible. You don't want to be making a ton of roaches and lings. You want to be making broodlords and ultras.
Yeah.
And I think they would have been much better against the unit composition that InControl was using. So I mean, Lings and Roaches just aren't going to cut it at this point in the game.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, Dark Templars are just a little bit more badass than Roaches. Roaches just don't really cut the cheese at this stage of the game. And Archons are definitely the ultimate unit here for InControl. Actually, he's even got a Colossus mixed in now, and I just don't see how Zelniq can win this game. He's got a couple of Zerglings here, but they're going to get caught out of position. They are in a dead end right now, so they burrow to stay alive, but the Observer comes in, and goodbye, Zerglings. Zelniq here's tried everything he can possibly try to win this game, and I just want to call you guys' attention InControl's insane upgrades. It is 3-1-3 right now, which means these units are just ballistic. They're just crazy, and I don't know what Zelniq can do at this point. He's actually making 8 Infestors, so he is making some use of that ton of gas that he's got. So Infestors will actually be really nice, and I just want to remind you guys, this is the newest patch update. As you guys can see in the replay, everything is new, and that also means Infestors have a new upgrade. Their fungal growth does a lot more damage in the amount of time it takes, and they're actually really good. So we'll see if this works.
Infestors are amazing now. A lot of people have been using them to great effect. A lot of people have been actually incorporating Infestors into almost every matchup, and relatively early on, because once you start getting them and you start accumulating that energy, you can use fungal growth to slow down any kind of pushes from a Protoss player or a Terran player or even a Zerg for all the way across the map, and it takes them a lot longer to get over there. But InControl is now mixing in these Colossus into his army mix, and I really think that they're going to do a ton of damage coming up here.
When I see Colossus, man, my face shudders in fear. Here we go. InControl has his force fields locked down. These Infestors have enough energy to fungal. Are they going to launch it? They launch a double fungal, a triple fungal here, doing some damage to the Protoss shields. But that's the thing about Protoss, man. They have shields which can weather the storm against fungal growth for quite some time. Another fungal getting thrown down. Banelings rolling in, and oh no, not enough firepower for Zelniq. And Zelniq here is going to have to tuck his tail and run away once again. InControl's army is just too strong at this point, and Zelniq calls GG.
I'm actually amazed Zelniq's army was able to take out as much supply worth of InControl's army as it did. Those Banelings were really cost effective. They managed to get in there and blow up a ton of stuff, but the tech difference and the upgrade difference at the end of that game and the income difference. Yeah, I mean, it was just
out of control. It was out of control for InControl.
All we're gonna say about that.
That was game number 1, and this is going to kickstart the HD World Tournament. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. We are going to move on to game 2. Remember, this is a best of 3. The first game is always Tal'Darim Altar, and the loser picks the next map. So Zelniq here gets his option to pick the next map, and we're going to go ahead and move on to game number 2 with Pain User here co-casting by my side.
Adios.